Welcome year 3 to English today, where we are drafting our myth of the 13th Labour of Hercules. We've got these amazing beasts that we produced last week to use in these stories today, and me, Miss B, Mrs Ramson cannot wait to see these. It's going to be really lovely. So if you can send a copy, a photograph of your work today to us, we would really love to have a look at those. That'd be great. Something to celebrate. Okay, so here's a Waggle. So here's one I did. So it's what a good one looks like. These are just the opening paragraphs. I have written the whole of the of my version of the myth, and it was actually quite enjoyable to write it. I actually really concentrated on using the things that I've put into the PowerPoint for you, and I actually think that my writing was better because I was concentrating on different tips I've given you today. So and I hope you like these opening ones. So I'll read them through now, and then we can go on to work, finding those top tips and showing you the checklist for you to go through and work with those, and work out how to get your writing, those writing challenges going, and how to get your writing really lovely. So it was early evening, and powerful King Uri had given a final command to exhausted Hercules, who could barely stand. In his last 2 tasks, Hercules had struggled to win when fighting, but here he was, still in one piece for now. Go to the cavernous beach beyond Mount Olympus and find the huge, most awful suck-scratcher that ever lived. Kill it and bring me a poisonous tentacle, or you must die, roared the king aggressively, punching the air with his fist at Hercules. He's quite stroppy, isn't he? Poor, hated Hercules felt drained of energy and trudged away from the palace, through woods towards the foot of the mountains. Seeing his sword tucked in his belt made him think. He was finally close to being free of the nagging guilt he felt for his poor children. He simply must finish. And it's his own little story, actually, that one, just as it stands. It's quite a nice introduction to the task. So we're going to have a look at the top tips today, and my first top tip for you is that to include those prepositions. And the position of some of these in here, there was one that I really liked. Oh, I'm trying to look at it now. Oh, this being trudging away from the palace. I could have just walked away from the palace, or walked from the palace through the woods towards. So I've got quite a lot in that sentence, and I really focused on that. So we've got the verb trudged to start with, which means that you're just about managing to lift your feet up when you're trudging. Reminds me of when you're sort of walking through, sort of wading through snow, you're trudging through the snow. It's a sort of like a laborious, hard walk. It's a nice verb. Away, that's away from, that's a preposition. And we've got through the woods, that's another one, going through, and towards something. And the foot of the mountain is a place as well. It's right at the bottom. The foot of the mountain is at the bottom of the mountain. So there's about 4 in that one sentence, and I think it really describes it well. Also, he was finally close to something. Close to is a really, one that I put in. I had a look at that, and I was like, he's nearly free of that guilt, and I put he was close to it. So there's some nice examples in here. I've also noticed that I've been putting in more adverbs as well. So I'm saying he's doing something. So roared aggressively. So if you're roaring, you're rah. But if you're doing it aggressively, you're like really gonna like you're gonna fight somebody if you're aggressive. Okay, this is Ludlow's aggressive face. And so that's nice. See if you can add some of those adverbs as well, though it's not one that I've used for a top tip. So we're looking at prepositions. So here we've got, they can give you the position of face it, places, characters or objects. So we've got, eventually Hercules found the cave and looked something the entrance. So it could be he looked above the entrance. Could it be he looked towards the entrance? Could it be underneath the entrance? Could it be across the entrance? Inside the entrance? Which position word would work here? And I'll leave you to think about that, because there's at least there's 3 or 4 there that actually would work quite well. Okay, there's some more on here too. If you get, if you're at a loss, you can stop the video and you can write some of those down, although they are quite tiny. You will probably, we've gone through this before actually, and so go back into your books and find some, use your book. That's what the work that you've done already on all of this for the last 2 weeks, because we've really been doing it 2 weeks. You can use that in your draft for today. This is the time. If you've got something, I really like that bit in that setting description, I'm going to use that. Go back and copy it in. It's that would be great. So we're going to use the past tense. Our myths took place many years ago in the past. So you're going to write them as if they have already happened. So run would become ran, and climb becomes climbed. However, you still need to use the present tense for speech. So when we speak, we do it in the present tense. So it's quickly heard. You need to get up and have another bash, feel demanded. So that part is in the present tense, and this part is in the past tense. So you've got 2 tenses in one sentence there. Okay. So top tip number 3: make sure your ending is great. Most disheartening thing when you're reading a book is when you get to the end and it's a really bad ending. It makes you just want to, oh no, it sort of makes you think that it's a waste of time and effort reading it. We don't want that with our writing. So is it really exciting? Is it as exciting as the beginning with your fight with the beast? You can't tell with mine, okay? I'm hoping it is. It's really important for your reader, so they remember what a great story you've shared with them, and they're more likely to pick up a book and read it again. That's what I love about J.K. Rowling's books. She had one following the next, following the next, following the next for Harry Potter, and her endings were really quite stunning, and you really remembered that, and it made you think, oh, well, I want the next bit, I want to find out what's happening, and you were really enthused when you were reading those. So have that stickability. Don't start off really, I've got all these great ideas, and then start to fizzle out. Okay, you can take a 30-second break, brain break, and have another little go, even a couple of minutes, as long as you're not doing something else. Keeping your mind sort of occupied in your writing. And so like Hercules, at the end of your writing, we need to have some determination all the way through, some resilience, that stickability, and we need to have courage to get right to the end with some really quality writing. So top tip number 4: use your story mounted plan. You did a lovely one yesterday. Here's one that I found from somebody else actually, and it was really nice, and I've used some of that today to help me write my one, and it was great because it just kept me on track. I realised here that I needed to describe the weapons that she'd put in. I talked about it being tucked in his belt at one stage, and that was really useful. So do go back and use that. Also, if you've used your time conjunctions, that's great too, because you can just remember to use them. So all this and the information in your books are tools to help you keep on track and challenge yourself as you write. You've got your challenge steps in there as well. Quickly, year 3, you need to use your resources so you can write like heroes feel advised. So here's your challenge sheet, and you've got your checklist. Tick them off as you go. We do find in class that lots of people have them. They don't really use them. They're for you to use and to keep yourself on track. If you don't start off with nice, neat, clear handwriting, bring it in halfway through. It doesn't matter as long as you're having a go. That's not the main crux of this. The main thing of this is actually getting a nice completed task with a great ending. So here we go. We're going to go through. You must write a past tense. It must be in the past tense. Completed final task. So we want a whole task right till the end when he gets back to King Uri. So you should include time conjunctions. So that's making your getting your story nice and ordered, and sort of almost signposting where your reader is in the story. Using prepositions to describe time or place, particularly place in this one, and you should include your inverted commas for speech. So your helpful checklist is to use your clear, neat handwriting. It's got to be easy to read, so it's communicated well. Range of punctuation, you must have your capital letters and full stops on. That is should be by now a no-brainer. Okay, you might want to use a question mark, you might use an exclamation mark, but just using one at a time. We don't want rows of them. You've got speech marks, or sorry, not speech marks, inverted commas. Oh, so old hat. You can use paragraphs if something changes in time or you change place, start a new paragraph. Then your ending, giving you proof that you've completed your task. And your last checklist is to checklist your checklist that you've checked your checklist, so you can check it off. I love doing that. I don't know why. Just the child in me. Okay. Hopefully we'll get some lovely descriptive writing out of this from you today, and really concentrate and see what you can do with your 13th Labour. We're going to love reading about your amazing myth today, your super stunning creature, your beast, and what Hercules, how he's going to be the victor at the end of his 13th Labour. Okay, that's it from me for now, and you take care. Bye now.